Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another video. Today we are going to be discussing Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, episode 45. So without further ado, let us jump into it. So when it comes down to episode 45 of Boruto, pretty much there are two things that are of major importance that we got introduced in this week's episode of Boruto, or at least that this episode focused on, and that was one, Ryogi's backstory, which we learn more about, and how exactly he became the individual who he is today, revolving around the Byakuga gang, and then also we focus more on the dynamic between Shikadai and Ryogi. Now, I just gotta say, right now, because of the fact that, you know, probably me talking about the backstory is gonna be a little bit longer than talking about the dynamic of Shikadai, we're gonna talk about Shikadai and Ryogi's, you know, dynamic dialogue between each other first. But I gotta say, when it comes down to Shikadai and Ryogi, I love this dialogue so much. I really, really do. And Shikadai as a character, like, I knew I liked him, but I like him a whole lot more now, including his voice acting within this episode. The voice actor who does Shikadai was amazing. Now, of course, that's all based on personal preference, but me personally, I really do like Shikadai as a character. Not just from this episode, but from what we have seen throughout the series of Boruto thus far with Shikadai, I've just come to really enjoy his character. And I love how, you know, he's very quick-witted to think about certain situations and read the atmosphere to at least, you know, analyze certain, you know, situations, and, you know, compared to the rest of the gang of Boruto, you know, he's exactly like his father, and that's not exactly a bad thing. It really isn't. So he's like one of the very first people to realize that Ryogi is in fact in the Byakuga clan, and it's not like he tries to, you know, report it to the Hidden Leaf at all. He wants, you know, Ryogi to actually turn over from what he is doing at the moment as a friend, as the bond that they have made is something that is special between the two of them. So he does not want to put his friend in any danger, but he also doesn't want his friend to get hurt and to be used and manipulated, which is essentially what Ryogi's whole persona is based off of. Basically being manipulated by people. Basically being a pawn. He is in denial that he is in a pawn. Shikadai even tells this to Ryogi. You are a pawn. You do not want to be someone's pawn. And Ryogi, I know for a fact Ryogi notices this himself, you know, but he is in denial. So let's talk about the backstory between Ryogi and Gekkai. I believe that is his name, Geki or Gekkai. So when it comes down to this backstory, we mainly see this through the eyes of Ryogi, you know, through everything through his perspective. But at least it is told within the way of Gekkai or a Geki how exactly the developments played out. So we don't really know for sure exactly what happened on that fateful day, besides to what exactly, you know, Geki or Gekkai spoke to Ryogi about. But necessarily, when it comes down to it, basically, Ryogi's parents were killed one day when his father and also Uncle Geki ended up leaving for a specific mission, and only Geki came back, but the father, or at least the father did come back, but he was basically drenched in a pool of blood. He was basically dead on the site, and someone was trying to assassinate him. Now, the person that assassinated him is most likely someone that Geki hired, or at least had someone from his own group, the Byakuga clan, probably either hired him to kill off the father, or either the individual was put under a genjutsu, and also killed off the mother as well. And directly after this confrontation, we had it to where Geki ended up killing off the man who killed Ryogi's mother and father. And this was simply just to gain Ryogi's trust in a way. So from what it seems like is that he basically wanted to kill off the mother and father for the specific reason to manipulate Ryogi and bring about him as his own son, if you will, in order to accomplish his overall goals. So he's basically using Ryogi as a catalyst for the future of the Byakuga gang and filling out his own needs and wants and stuff like that. So essentially, yes, Ryogi is a pawn. Now, we don't know exactly as to why exactly Geki did this in the first place, as to why he would want to kill the father and the mother. What we do know about this is that apparently Ryogi's father was actually involved in the Byakuga gang, but this is what he is telling to Ryogi. So we are not exactly sure if this is true or not. I'm assuming that it's not true. Basically everything that I personally thought about when it came down to Geki's dialogue between Ryogi and himself was that it was just a lie after a lie after a lie. He's basically trying to gain his influence and trust so that way he can basically manipulate him to thinking a certain way in order to fill out and accomplish Geki's needs and wants. And that's what it is exactly to be. But we don't know yet the overall motive as to what exactly Geki is planning, and also what exactly, why he killed, Ryogi's mother and father. So there is definitely more to this story that still needs to be developed, but I'm glad that we haven't gotten, the whole gist of things just yet. Actually, I'm really liking on how this arc has kind of been developing throughout this little, portion of Boruto that we are at right now. It's actually quite interesting, and I like how this episode was executed, especially the park scene with Shikadai and Ryogi. I thought that was amazing, especially when we see Ryogi, I believe, throw one of the shogi pawn pieces at the the shogi board, and then basically everything turns ice. Like, I just thought that was really cool on how that was animated. But yeah, when it comes down to this episode of Boruto, there are interesting bits that have come about in this episode. I personally thought it was a good episode, and it's definitely getting a lot interesting, but I'm very concerned as to how exactly the rest of this little portion of Boruto that we are on is going to develop from here on out, and how exactly it is going to be executed. But we do see from the Byakuga gang's actions that it has caused basically unrest throughout the Hidden Leaf Village, as we have citizens within the Hidden Leaf Village turning on one of the most popular and most iconic technological businesses, which happens to be Denki's father's business. So there is also that what is going on there, and that is mainly to throw off the citizens and pretty much everyone else from what the Byakuga gang is truly after. So we'll have to see what happens with that eventually. But I mean, Shikadai is the only one that knows Ryogi's true identity, that he is in fact involved with the Byakuga gang. So, there probably is going to have to come a point to which Shikadai is probably going to have to go to one of his authorities. Probably most likely the first person that he's going to go to is probably his father, and basically give him leads about this whole situation with Ryogi and the Byakuga gang, but we are not exactly sure. Shikadai could probably just take things into his own hands for the sake of his friend, which is probably what's going to happen, but at the same time, we'll just see, how things are going, because kind of right now I'm kind of feeling the whole 50-50 thing of this whole situation. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you guys thought about this episode of Boruto. My battery is about to die out, so I'm going to end it here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.